Sleeper Wire, the only fantasy football radio show with more than a dozen multi-time, multi-league, multi-year champions. Listen to the Sleeper Wire show every Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Dash Talk.
Welcome, sleepers. Welcome to another episode back. It's September 22nd. Got a nice show for you guys. We got some news to cover. We got some games to recap. Maybe a sleeper or someone who's going to perform well from each game. And we're going to try to take a stab at it. So we got a lot to cover. I got Dirty Jobs with me. What's up, Dirty? How are you, Mike?
Not too bad, Hoos. How we doing this evening? I'm excited for another week of football.
Yeah, man. We're going to get down to it. Before then, though, we're going to jump right into some of the latest buzz, some of the latest buzzing in the news NFL today. Excellent. All right, so we got Michael Cohen of Milwaukee Journal Sentinel expects Packers to lighten Ty Montgomery's workload going forward. He had 74 snaps versus Seahawks, 65 versus Atlanta. That's 16 more than Elliott and 26 more than Lamar Miller. Cohen alludes to Monty not keeping up 88% of snaps. What do you think about this, Mike?
Just when I was getting excited about Ty Montgomery, this comes out, but at the same time, you can't have a guy that's your running back with that workload running 88% of the time unless you're just going to run this guy into the ground. So I think for his health and for his staying power and all that, I do kind of appreciate this kind of news. But as a fantasy owner, I'm like, run him into the ground,
Right, right. And I think Ty Montgomery, he's certainly welcoming all the workload. It's been 2 weeks. He's got that David Johnson workload, and I think why not? Why can't he keep it up? I think this is maybe he doesn't do 88%. But are you worried at all, about this? I mean, this is Michael Cohen. This is a beat writer. This is, his expectation. Yeah, it was a lot. So maybe not 88%, but how much are you buying into this as far as maybe scale him down? Are you worried you're trying to get rid of him now?
I don't think I'm going to get rid of him quite yet until I can kind of see what the backups there can do in the capacity of, are they going to go in on every third down to spell him out? Is he no longer the third down back? Although that wouldn't really make sense to make your receiver not your third down back, right? So, I mean, it just kind of depends on how I see him not get used, I guess, if that's a phrase, before I'd freak out and drop him.
No, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm right there with you. This doesn't really worry me in the least. I think he's, he's not going to see 88%. But I think he could see, what Eddie Lacy saw, which was about 65%, and he was splitting time with John Starks. Sorry, John Starks, James Starks. He was splitting time with James Starks. So maybe he sees 70, and that's about what Elliott, gets, and what the other top backs get. So this doesn't really worry me too much. All right, moving on.
We got to bring up really quick is, what does this do for Jamal Williams?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is good news for any Jamal Williams fan. This kind of news here maybe makes you want to hold on to him a little bit longer, but this was kind of what you needed to do with Jamal Williams anyway. Everyone knows that you kind of have to hold him, probably halfway into the season before he starts to produce, because they're going to probably, and I was one of the guys that didn't buy into Ty Montgomery. I just didn't think that they were going to give him all of this work, but maybe like you said, run him into the ground. I think that's what they're going to do if he could keep it up. And, he does have the body to, sturdiness to keep it up. So we'll definitely see. But yeah, I mean, Jamal Williams owners salivate. I'm sure Jake Silly's pretty happy about this. JJ Nelson was limited. Oh man, we just picked him up off of waivers We just spent some nice fat bucks on him, and he's limited with a hamstring injury. Um, Albeit they said they're not really too worried about it. What are your thoughts about this, Mike?
I think he'll play this weekend. I think he'll start. I think you're still going to be happy about that, and I think he's actually going to be. I think Jerron Brown's out. Am I wrong there? Isn't Jerron Brown out this weekend?
John Brown's still out. Jerron, I think Jerron's another guy that's not 100%, healthy. But these are their weapons, that they have out there. Hopefully Gresham comes back, and yeah, it is a Monday night game, so he has an extra day of resting. So I'm not too worried about this. But yeah, when I saw this pop up on SleeperBot, I I did not feel good at all about this for sure.
I knew he hyperextended his knee last Sunday, and I thought he was pretty much not going to play this weekend, or he was out this weekend, or they were thinking he was going to be out. So if he's out, JJ Nelson's in. Start that guy.
So hopefully, JJ Nelson is fine with the injury. I mean, he's a burner, so that's going to affect him a lot if he is having any issues with the injury. So it's something to monitor. It is a Monday night game, so we got some time for that. I guess we'll segue right into the running back, the Cardinals running back. So Bruce Arians expects Chris Johnson carries increase week 3. This is good news for those misers that didn't want to spend too many fab dollars, and said, no, I'm not going to spend money on Kerwin Williams. I'm going to, maybe spend $5, maybe 10 tops on Chris Johnson. So, being the miser worked out this time, right?
Oh, I was looking at our sleeper bot league, and I think I picked him up. Yeah,
Yeah, I
last
saw that.
Wednesday for 0.
Yeah, yeah, you got yeah. So yeah, well, being with that hype, it's tough to kind of look past, that hype. It's you got guys in front of you, saying that they're going to be the feature back. That title feature, is so nice and so tasty that I think people see it and they just, oh, I gotta have it. But again, the writings, we were talking about this last week, at how they let him go, strictly for financial reasons, brought him back, and yeah, Kerwin looked good, so of course they're gonna name him that. But can we really trust the coaches there? No, we know Bruce Arians, is not a guy we can really trust, but I think 11 for 44 yards. I think we can trust that we're going to see more of that.
Absolutely.
All right, Jordan Howard still limited at Thursday practice. I don't know. Is he going to play?
I just don't know. I feel like he is, but I feel like it might be in a limited capacity.
Yeah. So are you firing up your Tariq Cohens right now? How many shares? However many shares we have of them, playing them in DFS.
Uh, you know, I'm not that excited about the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah.
I think that they're actually legit this year. I think actually their defense is why they've won 2 games this year. It's not their offense. Their offense is looking stagnant compared to what you're expecting
Right.
out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But
For
that
sure.
defense is looking solid. So I don't think I'm really starting too many Bears this weekend.
No, and this is unfortunate news. I mean, and you know, this is why I think I like to go wide receiver heavy, because you just never know with these backs. There's a new top 10 list every year, and Jordan Howard, even if he continues to play, if he somehow becomes 100%, I don't know. Is he going to be on that top 10 list this year? They're fragile. They always have issues. And it's a perfect way to segue into Jay Ajayi, who's missed his second consecutive practice. Yeah, another top 10 guy last year. Man, these backs, it's tough. What are we thinking about Jay Ajayi? Are we worried about him?
I'm not really too worried about him. I think he starts. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean they're resting him up. hopefully he is okay. But it's a scary. I mean, we got Jordan Howard, Jay Ajayi. These guys are banged up so early, and Jay Ajayi, not having a break in sight. So that's a little worrisome for Ajayi owners. And
Putting it in that perspective, that does kind of make me a little bit more nervous. Yeah, because they don't get another bye week this year.
no, their week one was it. So maybe like it's not good for fantasy owners, but maybe scale them back. If you're the coaching staff, and ease them into the this week, of some swelling. So that doesn't look good. Another guy missed a second straight day of practice is Tyler Eifert. He's looking doubtful for Sunday versus the Packers. Man, Tyler Eifert. He's another guy that we're kind of worried about, on draft day. And this is why, you hopefully you didn't have to invest in him too heavily. You probably didn't, just by ADP. But how worried about your Tyler Eifert? Not even for this week, but just going forward on the season.
No, it's okay. It's the Bengals. They can afford to lose a weapon, right? No. Um, that's
Probably not.
that
Yeah,
is devastating for not only
right,
Tyler Eifert owners, but for the Bengals.
right,
That team is going to be tough to pull out any kind of production. They keep losing all their good players, and they are not using their best players. To me, Joe Mixon should own that backfield by now,
right. Well,
but
they
they're
have to
not.
stick. I think they kind of have to stick to that now. I think they have to do something. Otherwise, I mean, they can't go 0-3, even though they probably will. I mean, they're playing the Packers. So man, that 0-2 is tough. They had to let go of their OC. Probably good for AJ Green, probably good for Mixon. But yeah, they have to pull something together this week, because they haven't even scored a touchdown. In the two games, no touchdowns.
Right.
So this is troublesome.
And now
For
Tyler Eifert's on the bench.
yeah. So this is not good news. And Tyler Boyd's not really looking. Ross. None of these guys are really looking. So maybe what LaFell? Maybe you plug in LaFell, and they just pepper up. Maybe give Green 20 targets this week. Because he's the only guy you have left at this point.
Yeah, I'm starting AJ Green in daily. I'm starting AJ Green everywhere I can.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, he's
Yeah,
just too good, too good. Devontae
absolutely.
Parker, another guy that potentially, hyped up to be too good, held out of Thursday's practice, ankle injury. Worried about Devontae Parker?
I kind of am.
Yeah,
I don't know that he's going to get a start this weekend.
yeah. I mean, that limited, it's definitely a cause of concern. But I wouldn't worry too much if I'm the team. I think they're fine with Landry and Stills. But man, they've been hyping him up all summer long, and we didn't quite see the outing. That not that you and I thought, because we were actually down on him on Sunday. If any of you listened, and on Sunday we were pretty down on Parker. We told you not to start him, but it's just not looking good so far. And for Cutler saying he's a faster Alshon, but if Alshon's banged up all the time, so I mean, that's cool and all that he's faster, but Alshon's always banged up. So if he's that, I don't know how much we want him. So not the best news. I don't know,
That's
right, Mike? I
hilarious.
don't know.
Yeah, no, I think he starts, but at a limited capacity. I mean, I hate already saying this by week 3.
Yeah, it's tough. Just keep an eye on him. Um, don't do anything crazy. But it's a little alarming, even though it's his first game. This would be his second game, so it's week 3. It's week 2 for him. All right, DeMarco Murray, man, another guy sidelined again. How worried about DeMarco Murray are we at this point?
I'm not at all, and that's because they're playing Seattle, so I wasn't planning on starting him anyways.
Right. Yeah, it's
Him or
those
Henry.
those yeah, him on Henry. I mean, obviously you'd like this for Henry a little bit more if you're, buying into the Henry hype, which a lot of people seem to be. Um, maybe, yeah, this is just a game you want to rest him, get that thing right, and just come back week 4. But yeah, it doesn't look good. He hasn't really looked that great the past couple games anyway. That whole offense looks like they just need to figure out a couple things. They may need the bye to figure that out. So we'll that's another wait and see. Keep our eyeballs on that. All right, we're gonna head back over to the Dolphins. Coach Adam Gase. It's a Jarvis Landry knee injury is not serious, so he's nursing a little bit of an injury today. He was limited, popped up on our radars. Not really something too much to worry about though. Terrence West though, sideline again. Terrence West, man, are you worried about Terrence West?
I
Is
don't think we'll
Buck
see Terrence
Allen?
West in London on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know. If I mean, there's a guy I like, Alex Collins. I think that he's going to have a nice opportunity to, to do something special this week. So we'll see. Those London games I find them always uninspiring. Whenever you watch them.
The
But
Jaguars always just show up, and they just tear up the London game for some reason.
yeah, that's hoping for it. I mean, because I feel like a lot of those London games haven't really been that great up to par. But yeah, Terrence West, man. I'm not dropping him right now, though. Would you?
I didn't actually have any shares of him, so I don't think I would drop him right now, but I would definitely be doing what I can to get Buck Allen.
What about Alex Collins? Are you interested at all?
Not really.
No.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to be Allen's backfield to lose.
All right. Well, another guy that is now we on to some better news. Actually, Rob Gronkowski is practicing on Thursday. He was practicing, got that groin issue. So good news for Gronk owners. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely. That's exciting.
Danny Amendola, he's another guy that's practicing. Great news for the Pats. Great for their offense. Their offense has not been looking the greatest, even though they slap it together whenever they want, right? And
They
then
looked pretty sharp last week.
yeah, last week they looked sharper, but they didn't start too hot. And then when actually, they as far as week 1, they didn't start out too hot. They they looked like they needed a bounce back. The bounce back did help, but obviously they had the the Saints. So it looks like anybody can tear them up. But Gronk and Amendola, I mean, I think this is huge for their offense. Especially, they didn't look so great week 1. I think, week 2, you kind of have to, as great as they did look, it was against the Saints.
Right.
So, all right.
Fair
So,
enough.
Kelvin Benjamin, another guy that returned to practice. Good news for Kelvin Benjamin, especially that there's no Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's gone. He's going to be sidelined for the next 8 weeks or so. So Benjamin with the rib issue, that was looking like a big scare for Panther fans. Now that he's returned to practice, is looking like he's going to be okay. This is great news, right?
Yeah, especially against the Saints at home this weekend. I think Kelvin Benjamin's is worth the start this weekend. I'm going to start him.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely worth a start. Definitely in daily. And another guy, last guy, Odell Beckham is practicing. Looks like he's going to get a full, he's going to be out there not decoying, like I thought the first week, I thought he might. So it looks like he's going to be out there full strength this week. And this is a week I think you can feel good about playing him, you're going to play him every week anyway. And you're never not playing him, but you feel a lot better, so expect that bounce back.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't decoying last week. He was out there every single play that he was in there, which was 4 plays. Like, you could have maybe told us that, coach.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they were just kind of wanting to get him back into back into it. It's a tough thing to come back from. And he came back, early, a week earlier than he was projected to. So he showed up, quick appearance, but this is a week I think you can feel a lot happier about, starting him.
Absolutely.
All right, we got the week 3 review. We got a lot of games to cover, so we're gonna just jump right in it. All right, Ravens versus Jags. We got Flacco, Bortles, we got Buck Allen, Alex Collins, Fournette, Macklin, Lee, Watson, Hearns, Mike Wallace. Starting, sitting. Who are these guys? Are you starting? We're gonna start with Flacco.
I'd start Flacco against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. I'd start him as well. Bortles?
Not against that Baltimore D, but man, again, I can't stress enough that those Jacksonville Jaguars show up in London. But no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, those those wide receivers will have a chance. Bortles not so much. What about Buck Allen?
Oh yeah, starting Buck Allen all day long, especially
Yeah,
Terrence West stays home.
You're starting Buck Allen with strength. Alex Collins?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't start him. I think you'll see him, but I don't think he'll give you a productive enough fantasy day.
Yeah, don't start him unless you're in deeper leagues. You need something, but I don't think you can start him just yet. What about Fournette?
I think I'm starting Fournette until he shows me otherwise.
Have any hesitation about it, or
a little bit, just because that Baltimore defense is legit.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. What about Macklin here?
Oh yeah, I'm starting Macklin every week too.
Macklin's another guy that he's got that touchdown potential almost every week. So Fournette, I agree with you there. I'm starting Fournette. Macklin, I start as well. What about Marquise Lee?
Yeah, I like Lee. He's on a couple of my teams, but I don't think I'm starting him against Baltimore.
No, you don't think he could flex?
He could flex. He would be a good flex. I don't think I personally am starting him, but I could see starting him. I mean, desperation move. Not even really a desperation move. I think you could start him and count on about 10 to 12 points out of the guy.
All right, Benjamin Watson.
Yeah, I'm really liking what they're doing with that tight end right there. I'd start him right now.
Yeah, I like them, especially Flacco on the road. He loves to target his tight ends. Peta he led the tight ends as far as with catches and targets last year. Watson looks like a prime benefactor to get all those targets this year. What about Hearns?
Same thing as Lee. I feel like those guys are basically going to be the same receiver for a minute until they kind of separate themselves.
And last, probably least, Mike Wallace.
Yeah, nope, I'm not starting him. I keep feeling like he's less and less involved in that offense.
All right, who do you think is going to be the guy that stars this game?
I think it's going to be Buck Allen. I think Buck Allen's going to just rip him apart.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here, Buck Allen. All right, Falcons versus the Lions. Falcons at Lions. Is there anyone you're not starting in this game? I mean, right? Like this should just be a great fantasy.
You would be digging for names like Zach Zenner,
right?
to get
for names that you're not
starting in this game,
right?
Like I'd even take a flyer on Taylor Gabriel right now or Mohamed Sanu. Like I think both of those guys. I think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Yeah, that's why I had to just phrase it that way. You're not really, like you said, even Taylor Gabriel. You're starting all of these guys. Austin Hooper. You're going to plug these guys in. In a deeper league. DFS even. This is a great game to for fantasy. And as we say this, watch this be the defenses show up and everyone has a low scoring game, right? All right, well, you got a sleeper from this game?
Not really a sleeper because he's fairly obvious and he's probably in a lot of lineups already, but Tevin Coleman, I really have a feeling Tevin Coleman's going to have a good game this week.
Yeah, gonna take the lazy approach and agree with you here. Tevin Coleman, I really like Tevin Coleman, especially in a PPR league.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get used and abused this Sunday.
Browns at the Colts. Kaiser, Brissett, starting these guys, maybe a 2-quarterback league.
Uh, probably. Yeah, probably not. I don't think so. In a 2 quarterback league, I hope I have better options still.
Yeah, I'm with you there. What about Crowell and Gore?
I'm definitely starting Crowell this weekend. Gore, I think Gore is very startable too. I'm starting both those guys.
Duke Johnson?
Finally, who's finally, man? Do you know how long I've waited to say yes? I would love to start Duke Johnson in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice one, man. He's got the Colts. Ugh,
I
this is
think
a
if you
beautiful
remember
game for
when you
Duke
met me, how big
Johnson.
on Duke Johnson I was and how disappointed I
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I mean, I think he had a really disappointing season for people that just hyped him up coming into the season, and I think everyone just faded him coming into the draft. And I remember talking with Chris on Twitter. We were talking about how much everyone was just so high on Crowell. And I was like, you know what? I'm starting to fall in love with the other guy there now. And he's like, who? And I'm like, Duke Johnson. He's like, oh no. And I was like, oh yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. Nope. You were alone on Garbage Island on that one because I was just I'm like, no way, Duke Johnson's a has been. Never was. But
well,
now
yeah,
he's looking good.
right. And then I mean, you just look at Hugh, he runs, I say this, time to time. He runs, that's just there's a stat out there. He runs like 5% more than the rest of the league. And he actually came out and before the season said he wanted to run more. Now it hasn't been with, the way Crowell likes, even though Crowell's been getting the touches. He came out and said he wants more touches, but he's been getting the touches. But Duke Johnson, he's just been looking good. He's been looking good with it, and I think he's definitely going to be another guy you could just continue to factor into that offense. What about Higgins? This guy, are you, especially if Kaiser starts? What are we thinking about Higgins?
Ugh. It has to be a deep league where I'm starting that guy. I mean, I like
Yeah,
him. I get all the hype about it, but I just don't think he's going to have the production everybody thinks he's going to.
yeah. I think watch if Hogan plays, sure. With Kaiser wasn't the one connecting with Higgins like crazy anyway, so I don't really I'm not buying into Higgins. I say leave him. Just wait and see what he does. What about Moncrief?
No, I'm not sold on him yet this year. I'll start Moncrief when I start seeing uh, Andrew Luck out there.
Same. Njoku?
I love Njoku this weekend. I think he's going to be a huge TE to have.
Yeah, I think he's going to be high on waivers next week. And I believe you were really, really the highest one on him amongst anyone on the team.
I've been on that
So
guy
yeah,
forever. He's a
yeah,
monster. Like he
yeah.
just
So
is a target monster.
yeah, so it's nice to see that. I think he's going to be the safest guy if Kaiser starts. In Joku. And what about Doyle?
I like Doyle this weekend too, just because of Cleveland. They're a pretty porous defense.
Yeah, and Brissett seemed to target him like
Yeah,
a ton.
he had a really good connection with the guy.
Yeah, he did catch all of the targets that was thrown his way, so that was nice to see. All right, we're gonna move on. Is there anybody left from this game? Well, I guess who would be the sleeper of this game if you or the highest scoring if you give me one?
Marlon Mack would be my sleeper. I think he's going to start seeing him get involved. I think the biggest scorer here is crazily enough is going to be David Njoku.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
I'm
I was
putting
gonna
him
say,
up for about 80 yards, call it 6 catches and a touchdown.
wow. Well, I was gonna say Njoku was my sleeper. Um, I'm gonna say Crowell has a nice bounce back and gets some nice goal line work, and get some rushing as well. So I'm gonna say Crowell probably scores the most, but Njoku's my sleeper. He's probably gonna be added a ton next week
Yeah, I have him in a lot of my dailies this weekend.
for sure. All right, Broncos at Bills. You got Trevor Siemian, your boy. Trevor Siemian looking good. Those 2 weeks in a row. You starting him this week?
I am not. I am I am calling you're going to see the real Broncos this weekend because they're facing a defense that can actually shut them down and make
Wow.
Trevor Siemian have to work. And so no, I'm putting up the red flag on almost every Bronco this weekend. I think this game's going to be like a 10-3, 7-3 type game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's probably going to be one of those really low scoring games. The only way you're going to see Simeon have a good game is if he runs one in and throws one, and has maybe some decent yards. Maybe he gets you 16, 17 points. Not what you want. What about Tyrod Taylor?
No. No, I'm not starting anybody against the Denver defense. I think they're for real, but I don't think the offense is.
All right, this game is not going to produce much. So who are you going to start from this team?
I think you
from
have to
this
start
game?
C.J. Anderson because he's been proving that he's worthy of a start.
Right.
But I myself wouldn't start him because I just know. I know what C.J. Anderson does. He has that big game, and then he just flops for the rest of the season until about week 15 or 16. Then he has another gem.
Wow. So I mean, if you can flip him right now, this would be the time to flip him, right? This would be the time to get rid of him.
I think so. Yeah, I'd sell high on C.J. Anderson right now.
And what about McCoy? How do we like McCoy this week?
I just don't like that Denver defense. I think that Denver defense is just shutting everybody down. I do like LaShawn McCoy every other week, but not this week. This week I'm actually benching him.
All right, yeah, and I think the only other guys that you may want to start, even though DT, he's back at practice, he's back in full, so that's good for Broncos fans. That's good news for DT owners. But DT Sanders, I think Clay might be the safest guy out of this whole game. But yeah, any sleepers? Who's gonna score the most out of this game?
Oh, who's McManus?
Oh man, that's so stay away.
Yeah,
Stay away.
this
Put it
to me
down.
just screams fantasy wasteland.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, hopefully this one produces slightly more. The Patriots and the Texans. Texans are at Foxborough. They've got Watson. I don't think you're gonna start Watson. You're starting Brady, obviously. Who else are we gonna start here? We starting Miller.
I'm not. I don't really like how they're using Miller right now. I mean, yes, he's been getting production, but I think Foreman's going to start seeing a lot more work over there.
So good week to sit Miller.
I think so. I don't really see much running production. I think especially if you've got Gronk healthy and Amendola healthy, I think Houston's going to be playing from a huge deficit immediately. Just they have not been playing good football.
Well, I will say I do agree with you. But I will say the thing that will bail Miller out, because I don't think he's going to rush for much. But the thing that will bail him out is he is a passing down back, and I don't think Foreman's going to take on that anytime soon unless he shows it right away, and they just don't seem to trust him. So I think that you can start him, not get much points. Maybe you get 10 maybe 10 points out of Miller. Yeah, but I do agree with you. This might be the week you want to sit him. What about Gillisley?
I think Gillisley gets in the touchdown this weekend. I think he's probably worth a start.
Yeah, I agree. White?
I think White's going to have a huge weekend.
Yeah, he's the one I think he's going to be my sleeper. I'm going to just throw it out there now. What
We're
about
saying
Hopkins?
this, and you want to know what I want to say is watch for Dion Lewis. But
Yeah. 3 weeks in a row, right?
you're right because he's
It's
coming.
coming.
He'll be
Right.
there.
He will. He will. He will be there for you to pick up off of waivers because no one's really picking up the guy. But
That's
hey,
because they're
you
not
wish.
using him.
Yeah. Hey, listen to Dirty Jobs. He knows what he's talking
Yeah,
about. So
come
pick
on,
him up now.
Belichick. I'm a way better coach than you are.
What about Hopkins?
I think Hopkins is a good start this weekend. I don't think that Patriots
Cooks?
defense is all that good. I don't think I think I like with if Amendola's back, I'm not starting Hogan.
Yeah. What about Cooks? I agree with you though.
I think this will actually be a game where we see Cooks get in the end zone. I think he's actually going
I
to have a productive game.
I agree with you there. Bruce Ellington, Tyler Irvin, these guys you're not starting. Gronk, you're starting. And then Amendola, you're starting Amendola. He's just shook off that.
It's a concussion, so yeah, I'm starting him.
Yeah, I think he's a nice guy to start. And who'd be your sleeper of this game? I gave mine.
Dante Foreman. I think he's going to have. Well, Now that you say that, though, because you kind of convinced me right there that, man, Miller will probably have a pretty decent game because it will be a passing situation. So, not really a sleeper because he's owned in most leagues, but James White, he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I agree with you there. James White would be the sleeper of this game. Plug in James White. Dolphins at Jets. Cutler, you starting Cutler at the Jets?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Unfortunately,
would.
it would. Yeah, McCown, you're not going to start him. Ajayi, please come back. Come
You
back
know how
to
much
us.
I hate Brock Osweiler, right? Like
Yes.
I've made those feelings very well known. Jay
Yes, you
Cutler is
made them clear.
below Brock Osweiler to me.
Oh, man. Yeah,
I
but you're starting him
remember
this
I
week.
remember when he was a Bronco Hoos and when he got all lippy with the coach and McDaniels. I hate McDaniels too. Just so much hate in my heart because of that man. Cutler.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but you're starting him this
I
week,
would
though.
start him this week because I love fantasy football.
Right, right. Well, that's good sense. That's good sense. Can't play with your heart, can't play with your feelings.
Right.
You know,
But I
it's
want
something
to.
you definitely can do.
I want to make an
But we all
exception
want
with
to.
him.
We all want to. We all want to. Ajayi, man, are you worried about Ajayi this week? You
I
starting
just
him? You have to start
I
him,
am,
right?
but I'm not. I feel like if he's in, you start him. I mean, it's the Jets. Get every Dolphin you can on that squad.
Forte and Powell, what are we doing here?
I think it's going to be another good Forte week. I think I'm sitting Powell.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What about Parker and Curse? Parker,
Eh,
Curse, Landry, and Stills.
I
Which one of these guys produces? And who doesn't? Who lays an egg for you?
I think Curse. So I think Curse is going to lay an egg, but I feel like you have to start him because he hasn't given you a reason not to start him yet. He's the target in New York right now.
Yeah, I think ASJ might be the reason why he may lay an egg, just because he looked good over the camp. I'm not saying start ASJ, don't wait, see how he looks. But ASJ could steal some targets away. I think he will for sure. They said in camp that he was the star of the camp. He's the best player that they have, and that was surprising given they have Bilal Powell, and we were all really high on Bilal Powell. Even though Powell's not doing very well this so far. Another guy don't drop just yet.
Right.
But the rest of these guys, Curse, yes, Parker, yeah. I mean, if he plays, you're starting Parker against the Jets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stills, you're playing Stills.
Ooh, that yeah, he is so hit or miss, and he hit last week, so I don't know that I could play him this week just based off the
14
law of
man.
averages.
What about a 14 man? You play Stills?
I'd play Stills in a 14, no doubt.
And Julius Thomas.
I think he gets a touchdown this week. I think it's going to be like Oprah over there, though. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown.
It could be. It could be. I mean, it is the Jets. It is the Jets.
Yeah, they're just dreadful.
All right, and who would be your sleeper
Well, I
of this
think
game? Or
I mean we were talking about him. I think Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I think I think he could have a real productive. He was used a lot in the preseason or before the preseason, the off season, and he's had a lot of work with that team. I think he's actually going to be productive, and I think he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I agree. He has a lot to prove. He had that 2-game suspension. A lot of people calling. These are players. At the end of the day, we shame them all the time. We shame, Eddie Lacy. We shame ASJ for drinking. But these are all things we love to eat. We love to drink. These guys just got caught up out there. Yeah, he has a lot to prove. He got rid of that beard. And when I was looking at that player card, I was like, "Who's that guy?" And I was like, "Oh, that's what he looks underneath there." So yeah, I like that call. I'm gonna say Kenyon Drake, just because I think that game's gonna get out of hand, and I think Drake will probably get in there and probably spell Ajayi some,
Especially that injury concern.
especially yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Drake could be a nice sleeper,
Good
especially
call.
in dailies. All right, Saints at Panthers. This should be a juicy game for all of the Panthers receivers, anyone that can catch a ball out there. Talk about McCaffrey. We talk about Calvin Benjamin. We talk about Funches, even Dixon. They're the guy that's taking place for why is his name escaping me? Right, Greg Olson.
Right.
Yeah. So these guys, even Shepard, right? You just never know. So this could be a big game for the Panthers. Who do we like? Who don't we like?
I'm still a little nervous about what Cam Newton's doing out there. He's just not looking like Cam Newton, so I'm a little apprehensive about the receiving core here. I really like McCaffrey this weekend. I think
Yeah,
he's
good
going to
point.
get a really big game. I think Cam Newton might be a little frazzled without having Greg Olson. I mean, you've got that big tower of a man to throw to when you're in trouble, and now you don't. So, I mean, I think you see a pretty good uptick out of Kelvin Benjamin if he starts this weekend. If he doesn't start this weekend, I'm actually probably starting Devin Funches, which is weird to say out loud.
Yeah, I mean Devin Funches is probably. I want to say I'm gonna go ahead and say he's gonna be my sleeper of this game. Him and Russell Shepard. I think those are gonna be the guys that are just gonna be out of catching shots out of nowhere because I think Benjamin plays, but if he gets hit, and somewhere and it it's bothering him, maybe he doesn't come back in. And yeah, I think McCaffrey has a great game. Stewart, maybe, he's going to get some goal line. I'm with you on Newton, though. It's as hyped up as, I came in with the, Saints and Panthers. Do you want to start them all? Kind of not that excited about these guys this week. Um, I guess if I had to, it's Funches. Like you said, it's weird to say out loud.
Yeah, no, and I like Breeze, but I like Breeze at home. I don't really like Breeze at Carolina. I
Right.
don't think it's going to be a very good time to start too many New Orleans Saints right now either. I like Ingram, and that's just barely.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is another one that we're hoping for a bounce back. He got someone involved last week, with Coleman. Looked like he got, kind of looked like the better guy there.
He did.
But so hopefully you see a bounce back from Michael Thomas, but I'm not really buying it too much. So as hyped, as you would like to go into every game against the Saints, I think you kind of have to just bring it down. You have to simmer it down,
That's it.
a little bit. So
What about
Giants at
Ginn in
even.
a revenge game?
Again in the revenge game, he could go off and get one. Yeah, I guess in a daily. Yeah, I'd play him in daily
Yeah, I'm
for
still not
sure.
starting any Saints. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right. What about the Giants at the Eagles? This is another one that's it's tough.
start start some people here. I think you're starting Odell. I think, as weird as it sounds, I think I'm starting Eli Manning this week if I have him. If
Wow.
he's on waivers, I'm not going to go out and grab him or anything crazy like that. But I think that these two teams always bring it out of each other. They play each other really hard.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a low scoring game.
I think it's going to be a
I, I
shootout, high scoring game.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope it's exciting and I hope it's a high scoring game. I know that boy Wentz is going to sling it anyway. He threw the ball 45 times last week. So he's
Yeah,
going to get enough times to he's got it just looks like he's just trying to continue breaking his last attempts for the previous game, and that might lead to something. But I don't know. I just feel like this, it's a rivalry game. I feel like the Eagles have a good defense, the Giants have a good defense, and they're gonna, I feel like they're just gonna show up. They're both teams will show up, and it's gonna be tough. I think for both, players to come out. Alshon, all of those guys. I think I'm just a little down on them this game. A little down on them all.
see, and I think Odell brings New York to their offense that they keep on hyping up. I think, like I said, I think I'm starting Odell. I'm starting Eli less. I'm really kind of excited to see what Orleans Darkwa brings to the table.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'm definitely starting Carson Wentz this weekend. I think that he's going to just. I really like what he's doing over there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm
I think I'm
starting.
starting Nelson Aguilar too.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I could see you starting Aguilar in the slot. Yeah, I'd start Aguilar. Obviously, I'd start Beckham. You can't sit him. In a deep league, I'd maybe take a shot on Darkwa. Definitely interested in seeing what comes out there. Alshon, I think he doesn't really have it this game, but I like Wentz. I think Wentz he will throw enough that he'll have 22, if not more.
Yeah, and Zach Ertz is my tight end of the week.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. How do we forget Zach Ertz? Zach Ertz is an insta start. You're never taking him out of your lineup either. Off of just targets and his rapport with Wentz. Yeah, he's he is what everyone said he would be this season. That light Gronk or that no, it was light Kelsey. Yeah,
Right.
he's that. He's that. All right. Well, Steelers versus the Bears. Steelers at Bears. Who are we starting? Who are we sitting? We starting Antonio Brown, obviously. Starting
Yeah,
Lev Bell,
I'm
even
starting
though
Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, but I'm not excited about it just because Pittsburgh on the road and with their current offensive struggles, I don't really feel like they pull it back together this weekend. I think they'll do just enough to win again. But I mean, just enough to win for Antonio Brown. I mean, you never bench Antonio Brown. He might not get a touchdown and he'll still get 180 yards.
yeah, I mean, and especially in the PPR, he's probably gonna still get maybe 10 receptions or so.
Right, and I'm still
So
starting Le'Veon Bell. I think he does get a little bit of it back, but I think their next home game is where you really see Pittsburgh explode and be back to their normal selves.
Jesse James.
No, I'm kind of off that guy right now, but I mean on the road he's where he was most productive, so he might be worth a start.
What about Zach Miller? You starting Zach Miller?
I'm not starting any Chicago Bears.
Fair enough.
I really
Fair
think
enough.
Pittsburgh's legit.
Yeah, they have a really good defense,
They really
and
do, and I mean once that offense starts firing off, they're going to be a real tough team to beat.
for sure, for sure. Buccaneers at Vikings. Now this should be a good one. You got a lot of offensive weapons in this one. We love Mike Evans, obviously. I like Jaquiz even though he's playing the Vikings. I think he still has a chance to score. I did like Charles Sims last week, so I'm gonna like him again this week. I think he has the opportunity to bounce back and get in there. Don't know if you're gonna start him, but you can maybe plug him in a DFS.
Yeah, I think you'll see him be a waiver pickup on Monday. I think he actually has a very productive game. I don't really like Jaquiz as much as I actually like Sims this weekend.
Yeah, I just think that he falls into the at the goal line, he gets some work and he falls in there at least once.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be another real good game. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. I like a lot of the weapons on here. I'm starting a lot of the weapons on here. Uh, Everything's dependent on Bradford as far as Minnesota goes. Like, I don't think I'm going to start Thielen or Diggs if he's not there. If he's not there, because Tampa Bay has an exceptionally good defense as well. So I don't like the backup. I don't think he's going to be able to beat the Bucks. I think if he's playing, the Bucks are just going to slaughter him. But I don't think it's going to be done on the ground. I think that's going to be the Mike Evans show.
What about Jameis? You starting Jameis Winston
Yeah,
this game?
absolutely.
I don't know.
You're not.
I just feel like the Vikings defense, they
Well,
make Breeze
especially
not
at
look so
home, they are
great.
tough. But I think that Winston can overcome it. And again, especially if Bradford's out, they're going to be owning that game plan the whole entire
That's
game.
true. That's true. And he's going to just throw enough. He's another guy like Wentz. He's going to be able to throw the ball enough to find some production. So I agree with you there. You sold me back. All right, Seattle at Tennessee.
There's
like
not a
Russell
whole lot I
Wilson
like
to
about
bounce
this
back?
game. What's that?
Do we like Russell Wilson to bounce back?
I don't think so. I think this is going to be
Yeah.
another team kind of like Pittsburgh. Like they'll bounce back at
Yeah.
home. Seattle
Right.
might be week 6 or 7. That's more of Russell Wilson style.
Yeah, I don't really like. I don't really like anyone in this game. I think Doug Baldwin may bounce back in this game.
I think
Other
he
than
might
that,
score, but bounce back, I think, is a stretch. I think this is going to be another low scoring. I like Chris Carson a lot again this week.
yeah, I like Chris Carson as well.
I don't really
Uh,
like too many Titans.
right. Richard, you know, Delaney are the guys that are I think you could count on the most.
Right.
Derrick Henry, I don't know. A lot of people are high on Derrick Henry right now, especially with Murray possibly missing. But yeah, if Murray misses the game, you're gonna start him just because he's a starter. Uh, but it's the Seahawks defense, so don't really have a high amount of confidence in Derrick Henry. But I still would start him just given that there's not that many starting backs that are going to get so much work. So that's my take on Henry.
Absolutely. I just, like I said, I'm not confident starting against Seattle.
No, for sure.
Their
Definitely
defense is
wouldn't want
just
to.
so fast.
Yeah, they just have too many pieces, and their depth as well. So that's the problem.
Like,
So when
somehow
that
they've
falls
won a
down,
game. Just wrap your mind around that. They don't score, but yet they've won a game. That's because their
yeah,
defense is legitimate.
it's too good. All right, and we got the Cincinnati Bengals at Packers. We got Dalton, probably not starting him.
I'm not
Um,
starting Dalton, but I really like this game. I think you see the bounce back of AJ Green this week. I'm not. He's about the only guy I'm actually confident about on the Bengals, and I think the Packers are going to feast.
yeah, the Packers should feast. So you're starting Jordy, you're starting Adams. If Cobb plays, you're starting Cobb. Um, I don't really like Martellus Bennett too much, even though he got 10 targets last game. But I think that was mostly because Jordy and Adams left. So everyone else you're starting, and then AJ, you're starting. Mixon, I'm still sitting. Geo, I'm still sitting, and Hill, I'm still sitting.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I just don't like that backfield. I don't care if they're playing Cleveland or Indianapolis. I'm not starting any of those guys.
Yeah, they've got way too much to fix.
Yep.
It's not going to happen overnight. Kansas City Chiefs at Los Angeles Chargers. Who are we starting? We got some good guys in this one. Some real good guys in this one. I think you're going to start pretty much all the stars,
Right.
and there's not many. Other the obvious pieces: Hunt,
Kareem Hunt. Yep.
Tariq Hill,
Yep.
Travis Kelsey. Chiefs
Absolutely.
doesn't really have much else. Chiefs have anything else that you start? You start Charkandrick here.
I don't start Charkandrick, but what about West? Or not West, but Smith.
I think you could start Alex Smith.
Yeah, I think you can start Alex Smith here too.
Yeah, yeah, I like Alex Smith.
What about on the
A
other side of
lot.
the ball? I think I like actually a lot of Chargers this week too. I like Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen. I'm shocked that Antonio Gates didn't retire. I had a feeling that he was going to retire once he got that
Right
record.
after he
I'm
got
out.
that record broke. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, after he did that, I mean, Hunter Henry took over anyway.
I think I'd start
Maybe.
Henry this weekend too.
Yeah, I start Henry this week. I'd like all the Chargers this week. Even though the Chiefs defense, should be good, but with after they lost Barry, I don't know.
That changed the
Um,
game for him a little
yeah,
bit. I mean, they're still a
yeah.
stout defense, but
Oh yeah, for
you
sure,
can still score on them, or
for
you
sure.
can
Yeah,
score
but
on them now. You when Barry was there, that was a little bit trickier.
yeah, all those holes in the middle. Allen, Henry. Those short range guys, Melvin Gordon. Those guys are gonna feast.
Yep.
All right. Well, Raiders at the Washington Redskins. Who do we like in this game?
I feel like we've talked about all these teams not bouncing back. I think this is do you like that Kirk Cousins weekend?
Mm.
I think I like him. I'm not really too sure about the weapons on that team. I think he's going to spread the ball out a lot. I like him, and that's about it. And I basically like all the Raiders. I call Cooper over Crabtree this weekend because that's how they do that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think yeah, that's Carr just making things right in the world. He's such a fair guy. If you listen to him talking about making the money that he made, um, he doesn't want any credit, no accolades. He just wants to spread it all around, and that's what he continues to do. I think after Crabtree having that big game, Crabtree's still going to have a game. He's not going to be able to go away from him, but he's definitely going to force the ball to Cooper like he did week one. And I think you see a bounce back for him. What about Jordan Reed?
Yeah, I think I'd start him if he's in.
Yeah, if he's in, you got to start him. Crowder?
I'm not too high on Crowder. I like Pryor. and that's about it on the Washington Redskins as far as receivers go.
What about my boy Chris Thompson?
See, I'm kind of fading him because of Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack?
Or
Oh, you
not
mean
Marlon Mack. Sorry, Khalil Mack.
Pirine.
I don't even know what I'm thinking.
Oh,
no,
okay,
Khalil
Khalil
Mack on the
Mack, okay.
Raiders side.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I thought you meant Pirine. I'm like, oh, you meant the rookie running back?
His bigger, meaner brother.
Right. Yeah, I'm fading him as well as much as I love, much as I love everyone talking about Chris Thompson, and people know I didn't make him up, like in my head, like
Right.
he is a real NFL player. I'm happy people, see that I wasn't crazy.
He's studding out, but I think the buck stops here. I think he slows way down. I think you start seeing that backfield split up a little bit. And plus, it's going to be Kirk Cousins just hucking the ball a bunch because I think this is going to be another high score.
Yeah, we could see that. Definitely, Redskins definitely they didn't do too well against tight ends. So I'm gonna say I don't know. Jared Cook probably does a nice little sneaky guy this week.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about Jared Cook.
Yeah, I didn't really like him too much last year on the Packers, but I like him a lot more on this offense. Even though they didn't seem to use a tight end very much last year either, but it seems to be something that Carr is leaning on this year. So
Right.
I like Jared Cook moving forward, and I think he's a nice guy to be a sneaky sleeper for you this week.
Absolutely.
All right, and last not least, Dallas Cowboys at Cardinals. Who are we starting here? Yeah.
I'm like, you sure that's not least?
Yeah, it may be. I mean, the most exciting guys, we Elliott, Dez, Fitzgerald, Witten,
the
JJ
only
Nelson.
thing, like, that Cardinals defense is for real, but the problem with the Cardinals defense is that they're on the field the whole entire game. So yeah, I think I do like Dez Bryant. I think I like Ezekiel Elliott.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, you got to like those guys. I don't really think I'm too high on Dak Prescott. I think Jason Witten, you have him, you start him. I mean, that's
Right, for sure.
He's the guy that's probably going to catch the most there. Cole Beasley, he might have a really sneaky productive game coming out of nowhere. And Cardinals, I think I think I'm going to try to start Chris Johnson. It's kind of funny because both of these teams have, most of your teams have the quarterback that sit there and spread out the weapons, right? They'll throw it to this guy, that guy, that guy. So who do you want on the Patriots? Well, you want Tom Brady because, he's going to be the guy spreading out the targets. He's going to be the guy that gets the most points.
Right.
Right. And in this combination, it's the exact opposite. You don't have a quarterback that you really want to start right here, but you want to start all their weapons because
Right.
They all have the potential to have a big game, but you know that the quarterback can just throw up a dud with 2 touchdowns. It's kind of ironic. I don't know. It's funny.
No, yeah, I definitely see that, and you nailed it though. I think with that analogy and that breakdown, I think you it's not even so funny. You nailed it perfectly. So good job on that one. But yeah, I'm definitely starting Chris Johnson.
Absolutely.
Kerwin Williams, you can put him down and slow.
You can send him to the waiver wire. Yeah. That guy needs packing.
Yeah, I mean, he is the backup now, and he always was in my eyes. But you had to take a shot on him anyway. So if you looked at the article I wrote earlier this in the what was it, week 1 and week 2, saying invest in the whole backfield for the most part, because one of them are going to work out. Just don't break the bank. So hopefully you didn't do that, and you got Chris Johnson in your team if you were being a miser.
That's right.
All right. What about us sleepers from this game? You got one?
Well, Chris Johnson. I think and I think a really sneaky pick is Jermaine Gresham.
Jermaine Gresham, yeah. If Gresham plays, yeah, he's definitely a sneaky one. Cowboys just give it up to just receivers this year. They're not looking good at all. And obviously we like JJ Nelson. JJ Nelson's going to be great. He had, this is second, touchdown in a row. Well, actually 7 if you go back into from last year. So, when you look down at Jay Nelson and you're looking at the top receivers in the league right now, you see Jay Nelson, and it's not Jordy, it's JJ Nelson. So it's crazy. We'll see how long we continue to see that. It's probably not for too long, but I do like him rest of the season. So go ahead and pick him up if you haven't. He's probably gone off the waivers. All right, who's a guy? I want to do one little quick thing. Who's a guy that's the waivers are gone, right? You did not do what you were supposed to do the night before. You did not pick waivers. You did not appropriately designate your fab dollars, and everyone's gone. Now, who's left for you to pick up that will still be there for you? That will be picked up next week. So who's a guy? Give me a guy that's left there, because all the good guys are probably gone. But this guy, you'll be able to add him in, and things will all be right in the world. So give me one guy.
Hey, see, you keep doing this to me, and you already know what I think you were chuckling while you asked it because you're like, I already know who you're gonna say. I'm gonna say Dion Lewis. I think that guy's gonna spark. He's gonna have a great game this weekend. He is just such a good, powerful running back, and they used him so much 2 years ago, and then last year it was all the hype and the expectation of he's coming back, and then at the end they go, well, we're just going to save him till next year. Well, next year's here, and they're still saving the guy. But he's just too good not to mention. I mean, I feel like he will maybe be the number one waiver pick next week because he has a big game.
And they did lose Rex Burkhead. Well, maybe not lose him, but he did miss practice. He's got a rib injury. So it is something to watch. So you could have been right all along. This is a good name to add, and he's definitely on waivers at this point. I was going to say like Njoku or something like that. I thought you were going to say Njoku, but Dion Lewis, man, that's a good one to stick with.
See, and especially I feel like Njoku maybe got picked up with all these injuries and everything that's happened. Tight end got devastated this last weekend. So
that's true. Yeah, it's a possibility he may not be out there. I just think Watson was heavily coveted.
Watson was definitely the one tight end. But if you didn't grab Njoku, if somebody else got Watson, well.
Yeah. Or maybe Evan Ingram is still out there. Maybe
see, and that's crazy too. That would be crazy.
Maybe Breida is out there. Maybe
right.
Malcolm Brown is out there still. If Gurley gets an injury, hopefully he doesn't. But maybe Kenyon Drake is out there. So these are guys that if you slept, and there's nothing on waivers, there's always something on waivers. There's still a sleeper out there.
Robbie Anderson's still probably out there in your league. Yeah. You never know. Like it's Jermaine Kearse. How long can this keep up?
Right. Exactly. All right. Dirty jobs. You gotta get that special player of the week. Come on now, give it to us. Who's that player of the week for you?
Well, last week it was Chris Carson, and if you started him, he ran 10 times. He got you about, 10, 12 points if you use PPR. That's not bad. That's not bad because you got to remember, we're going in the dumpster for these guys. This is the dirty jobs guys. These are the guys that get their elbows dirty every single weekend. But they only produce every now and again. So this weekend, I think I'm going to call for Jack Doyle of Indianapolis. I think against Cleveland, that's a tasty matchup right there. And Brissett obviously has a man crush on this guy, and he's throwing the ball to him a lot. So I'm picking him. I think this is his weekend. I think he's going to be a top 5 tight end. I don't think he's going to be the number 1 because I love David Njoku, but he will be a top 5 tight end this weekend.
Yeah, great job, and I agree with you there. That was a good call. All right, sleepers, that's all we got for you this week. Hopefully we helped you out a lot. If you can always tune in to us on Sunday when we're going to be giving you instant advice live over Mixlr. Tune in on Sunday morning and you'll hear Dirty Jobs and I will give you last-minute up-to-date advice on your lineups. But that's all we got for you this week, man. For Mike, myself, so long, guys.
Yep, take it easy.
The champions from the Sleeper Wire Fantasy Football Show will help you win your fantasy football championship. Sleeper Wire, Friday 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Sleeper Wire on Dash Talk.